Hi everyone, this is NZ Tech Freak here for Android NZ of course, and hopefully the new year finds you all well rested and recuperating from the silly season. We've had a bit of a break at the blog over Christmas and New Year's, as you will no doubt have seen, but we're swinging back into gear now and wanted to kick the new year off with an unboxing. And so of course what you can see in front of you is an ASUS Transformer Prime, and we're just going to unbox that, take a very quick look at what's inside the box, quick hardware tour, and then get on with just a sort of brief user interface demo just to see just how Honeycomb's performing on the new Tegra 3 quad-core system on a chip that of course the Transformer Prime runs with. So without further ado, let's get into the box. Take the lid off, to the side, and we're greeted with a big slab of course. So that's Prime there. Let's flip it out of the case. And there it is. And you may not be able to see on there, but it's already attracted a few fingerprints from that. I'm just going to power that one up. We hope. Unless it's dead on arrival from eBay. No, we have power. And you probably can't see on eBay, but there is the barest trace of light bleed around the edges of the LED there that I can see. So let's put that to the side for a moment and get into what else is in the box. So we've got a little leaflet here, probably an instruction manual and other things that I never read. Don't know about you guys. Let's not labour that. Boring. Looks like a sort of fine mesh cloth for wiping the finger magnet screen. So that's a nice touch from ASUS to include one of those. I'm sure that's going to see a lot of use. And bottom compartment, we have yet again a silly proprietary cable from ASUS. And I can sort of understand the design imperative for this in terms of miniaturising everything and being able to sort of have this one port serve several duties in the same way that it does for Samsung, but it is nevertheless quite annoying, and hopefully something we'll see less and less of this year from other tablet makers. But be that as it may, that's our charging cable and USB connection, and the charger itself. And that's it for the contents of the box, and looks like the Prime has nearly loaded. I'm just going to take things off camera for a moment now and quickly set my Google account up on that so we can have a quick look. So we're just going to pause for a moment, and by the magic of YouTube you'll see me back in a few seconds with a fully loaded Prime and a few things to show you. Okay, unboxed it now and set it up a little bit, so let's have a look. Of course the front is dominated by a large slab screen, and can confirm when the screen isn't completely black, the light bleed isn't an issue. It's actually very minor compared to what the original Transformer had, and in my day-to-day I didn't find that too much of a bother there either. Without a doubt I can say this is the best tablet screen that I've had the pleasure of using. The brightness, the viewing angles, the contrast, all really excellent, and the Super IPS mode, which you will have seen mentioned, is actually quite useful in direct sunlight, and we've got a little bit of sunlight out there today, so hopefully can go outside and take some video and sort of showcase that for you. But just wanted to quickly really have a look at the hardware here, hardware tour. So there's the back. Of course it's got this really attractive brushed kind of aluminium look metal on the back, and it's actually looking quite champagne coloured in the video here, I noticed, but in person it's much more silver than the sort of really accentuated champagne colours you will have seen in the sort of press material online for this. And for me that was a relief. I don't know about you guys, but champagne isn't quite the colour I want my tablet in, and I do later in the month have one of the amethyst grey ones come in, so it'll be interesting to see how they look in real life as well. But a number of users have told me in various places that it looks more gunmetal, so again it's probably an improvement over the quite emasculating amethyst purple as you've seen in the press material. So looking at it, apart from the really attractive back, and it's got quite a nice sort of soft touch feel to it, Doesn't feel like it'll be too slippery though. It's brand new out of the box, so who knows whether that will kind of wear in a little bit. I could see this becoming a little bit slippery. We've got, of course, the camera on the back there, the mono speaker grill on this side, and you'll have seen in other reviews they've mentioned this is kind of an issue because that's where your hand actually sits when you're holding the tablets, and I guess I need to use it a bit more to see how much of an issue that really is in actual use. 3.5mm headset jack here. On the top of the display, nothing except probably a microphone hole here and the power button, and I can already say the power button's not quite ideal. It's actually quite small, and because of the beveled edge of the screen here, a little bit difficult to find, but maybe that's just a learning curve thing and I'll get accustomed to that. Then finally on this edge of the device we have an angle you can see it. Of course the volume rocker, well placed in terms of where your hand naturally sits holding the tablet in landscape, as you're most often going to do. We have a micro HDMI port, a mini HDMI port in the original transformer. They've now gone even smaller for a micro, and I've already had a little go with that and confirm it's working fine. And then we've got, of course, the micro SD slot, and in a few minutes we'll pop my 64 gig micro SD XC card in there and see whether the Prime is able to work with that. And another microphone hole on the side, and then of course on the bottom we have the proprietary connector, and that is for USB connections, both in terms of connecting to your computer to copy stuff to the transformer, but also can be used with the original transformer USB adapter. So I've already tried that out, tried one of the Logitech combined wireless keyboard and mouse with a unifying receiver, and this one working fine. The original transformer USB sort of adapter isn't quite ideal. Even an original transformer didn't sit that well within the transformer, had a tendency to wobble a bit. That's even more pronounced here, of course, with this kind of razor sharp thin beveled screen here, so it's a bit more of a problem here. No problem at all if you're going to be using it just for, connecting your Prime to the computer via HDMI and using a sort of wireless USB keyboard and mouse type of thing. No problem at all there, but for something like a game controller for up close and personal gaming, maybe a bit of an issue, just the wobble that you get and how sort of non-solid that connection is. You can see with the screen off just how many fingerprints it's already collected in that brief time, but that's just part of the course really for tablets. It'd be nice if there was a better oleophobic coating on it, I guess, but all in all, beautiful hardware. I don't think there's a better looking tablet on the market right now. This is just superb. Slim, feels great in the hand, great build quality, great build materials, and all in all, just initial impressions are fantastic. So I suspect few people will be disappointed with one of these out of the box.
So what I really wanted to show here was just how well Honeycomb runs on the Tegra 3 system on a chip hardware, and as you see, if I zip around the home screens here, the performance is really snappy, and to my way of thinking, this is how Honeycomb should have been when Google launched it. And partly it's the hardware, of course, it's the Tegra 3 that's underlying all of this, but partly it's also the manufacturer here. ASUS have done a bang-up job with their Android tablets to date, and although no one could have predicted how well they were going to do, it just makes me wonder really whether Google went with the right launch partner for their Honeycomb tablets early last year. The Motorola Zoom, of course, being fairly disappointing in comparison to most of the other Android tablets that other people brought to the table as the year progressed. Now, of course, there are a few interesting things that ASUS did here, one of which is the camera, the best camera you're going to find on any tablet at the moment, and the other thing, of course, is a few things in the settings that they've added above and beyond regular Honeycomb, much in the same way that Samsung made a few of their own additions. And so, without further ado, let's have a look at the camera application. Now, I don't want to labour the point here about the camera and go into an in-depth guide through the user interface or anything. Really, I just want to make the point that they've put all of the user interface elements right where your thumb will sit when you're holding the tablet in landscape, which I pick is how most of you are going to be holding it if you're using it as a camera. And look, while tablet photography isn't something that I suggest people will be doing a lot of, there may be the occasional time when you've got your tablet in your hand and something you want to take a shot of pops up, and why not have a decent camera at your disposal when that's the case? And they've really done a good job, apart from the fact that the user interface is really bang up from ASUS here. The actual camera itself is really quite respectable as well. I was quite surprised by some of the test shots that I've already taken, and if you look at other reviews around the net, you'll also see that other reviewers have found, for what it's worth on a tablet, that the camera experience is pleasantly surprising from ASUS here in the Transformer Prime. Now, ASUS have done a number of things within the settings here. You'll probably be aware that there's a few settings in relation to how the CPU handles itself in terms of battery performance. So there's a few things in quick settings in the bottom right hand side of the screen there that'll put it in either battery saving, balanced or normal mode. There's also a setting to put it into super IPS mode, which will chew battery like no tomorrow, but really pump up the screen brightness for challenging conditions outdoors if you find yourself in those using your tablet in those conditions. There's also some other things that ASUS have changed in the settings that I haven't seen mentioned in a lot of the other reviews, so I just thought I would touch briefly on those here. So if we jump right into settings here, what you're going to see in the bottom left corner, there's some ASUS customized settings. And if we jump in there, you can see a few useful things, one of which of course is the ability now to take a screenshot. So I've enabled screenshot mode here, and a few other settings including things like changing the touchpad pointer style, and that will also apply to Bluetooth mice and things